No one noticed it at first. In the middle of chaos, flashing cameras and thousands of fans screaming, something small happened, something almost invisible. As Taehyung moved through the crowd at Munich airport, an army reached out and handed him something. It looked simple, almost nothing. But the moment Taehyung saw it, everything changed. His steps slowed, his expression shifted, and for a split second, he just froze. But here's what made fans lose their minds. Just a step behind him, Jungkook saw it too. He wasn't smiling anymore. His eyes locked on Taehyung, then quickly dropped to the item in his hand. And suddenly, Jungkook's expression turned serious. He leaned slightly closer, almost like he was trying to read it or understand something no one else could. Fans nearby started screaming louder. But this time, it wasn't just excitement. It was confusion. What did Taehyung receive? Why did Jungkook react like that? Because seconds later, the energy between them shifted in a way no one expected. This wasn't just a random fan moment. This was something deeper. And once you notice Jungkook's reaction, you'll realize this changes everything. The airport was already out of control. Thousands of voices echoing through Munich airport, phones raised, cameras flashing nonstop, security barely holding the line as BTS made their way through the crowd. It looked like any other arrival, fast, controlled, almost routine. But it wasn't, because right in the middle of that chaos, something slipped through. A hand. Small, shaking, determined. An army managed to reach past the barrier for just a second and place something directly into Taehyung's hand. At first, he didn't react. He kept walking, head slightly down, expression calm, almost unreadable. But then, he looked, and everything changed. His steps slowed, not enough for security to notice immediately, but enough for the cameras to catch it frame by frame. His eyes didn't move away. It wasn't just curiosity. It was recognition. Something about that item hit deeper than anyone expected. And then, right behind him, Jungkook noticed. He had been moving naturally, scanning the crowd like always, but the second Taehyung slowed down, Jungkook's focus shifted instantly. First to Taehyung's face, then to his hand, then back to his eyes. And that's when his expression changed. The smile disappeared. His jaw tightened, just slightly but enough to feel different. He leaned in, not obvious, not dramatic, but intentional, like he was trying to confirm something. Or maybe trying to understand something only the two of them could feel in that moment. Fans were still screaming. But now, something else was spreading through the crowd. Confusion. Because the energy had shifted. Taehyung wasn't interacting the same way anymore. He wasn't waving. He wasn't looking around. He was holding that item just a little tighter, almost like it mattered more than it should. And Jungkook? He didn't look away. Not even once. For a few seconds, it felt like the entire world around them faded.
No cameras. No noise.
No crowd. Just that one moment. That one object. And whatever it meant. Security quickly pushed them forward again. The distance grew. The moment passed. But something didn't go back to normal. Because even as they kept walking, Taehyung didn't let go. And Jungkook? He stayed close, closer than before. Not saying anything. Not reacting openly. But watching. Carefully. Like he knew this wasn't just a random gift. And whatever Taehyung saw in that moment, it wasn't something meant for everyone to understand. But the cameras caught enough. Just enough. And now millions are asking the same question. What exactly did ARMY give Taehyung? And why did Jungkook react like that? Because the truth is, that moment didn't end at the airport. It followed them. And what happened next is what fans weren't ready for. For a moment, everything felt louder, but also strangely distant. Taehyung was still holding the item, his fingers slightly tightening around it, like he didn't even realize he was doing it. The noise from the crowd kept rising, phones pushing closer, security trying to move them forward, but he didn't move. And that's when Jungkook stepped closer. Not rushed, not panicked, but intentional. His eyes didn't leave Taehyung. "Hyung," he seemed to say quietly, barely audible, almost lost in the chaos. But Taehyung didn't respond immediately. Instead, he lowered his gaze again back to what was in his hand. From a distance, fans couldn't tell what it was. Some said it looked like a folded letter. Others thought it was just a small card. But the way Taehyung reacted, it didn't feel small at all. His breathing slowed. His shoulders dropped slightly. And then, something no one expected. He stopped walking completely. Security hesitated. The entire formation broke for a second. And Jungkook noticed instantly. He turned his body slightly, shielding Taehyung from the side, subtly blocking cameras from getting too close. His expression wasn't just serious now. It looked protective, almost like he understood what that item meant. "Keep moving, please," staff voices echoed. But for those few seconds, it felt like time had frozen. Then Taehyung finally moved again. Slowly, carefully, but something about him had changed. He wasn't looking at the crowd anymore. He wasn't waving. He just kept walking, quiet, focused, almost lost in thought. And Jungkook stayed right beside him, closer than before, not saying anything, but watching him. The distance between them? Gone. Fans began whispering. Did something happen? Why does Jungkook look like that? What did Taehyung get? Because whatever that moment was, it didn't end there. As they approached the exit doors, Taehyung adjusted his grip, just slightly, and for a split second, the item became visible. Not fully, not clearly, but just enough for a few cameras to catch something that made the entire situation even more confusing, because it didn't look like a normal fan gift. And Jungkook saw that too. His jaw tightened. His eyes flickered again, this time sharper, like he had just confirmed something. And right before they disappeared behind the doors, Jungkook leaned in closer than anyone expected and whispered something directly to Taehyung.
No mic.
No clear audio. Nothing confirmed. But Taehyung's reaction? He didn't look surprised. He didn't look confused. He just nodded slowly, as if he already knew. And just like that, they were gone, leaving behind thousands of fans. And one question no one could answer. What exactly did Taehyung receive? And why did Jungkook react like he already understood everything? The crowd kept moving. Security urged everyone forward. Cameras flashed endlessly. But inside that moment, something had already changed, and fans could feel it. Taehyung didn't immediately react the way people expected. No big smile.
No wave.
No quick acknowledgement. Instead, he held the item just a little tighter. His eyes dropped to it again, longer this time, like he was reading between the lines, not just seeing it. And that's when everything slowed down, because right behind him, Jungkook didn't move either. For a few seconds, he wasn't looking at the crowd anymore. He wasn't reacting to the noise. He wasn't even aware of the cameras pointed directly at him. His focus was entirely on Taehyung. Fans who were close enough started noticing something unusual. Jungkook's expression wasn't just serious anymore. It looked concerned. Not dramatic. Not obvious. But subtle enough to make people question everything. Then something even stranger happened. Taehyung slightly turned his body, not fully, just enough. Like he was about to say something but stopped himself. Jungkook stepped closer. Not enough for headlines. Not enough for security to react. But enough for fans to notice. His eyes moved from the item back to Taehyung's face. And in that moment, there was no smile. No performance. No distance. Just a silent exchange that lasted less than 2 seconds,
But felt like it meant everything.
Then suddenly, Taehyung exhaled. A small breath. Almost invisible. But it changed his entire expression. He didn't look shocked anymore. He didn't look confused. He looked emotional. Not enough to cry, but enough to hold something back. And Jungkook saw it. He didn't say anything. He didn't react loudly.
But his posture softened.
Like he understood. Like whatever Taehyung just felt. He didn't need words to explain it. And that's when fans realized. This wasn't about the object anymore. It was about what it meant. Because seconds later, Taehyung carefully adjusted his grip on it. Not casually but intentionally. Like it mattered more than anything else he was holding. And as they continued walking, Jungkook stayed closer than before. Not obvious. Not staged, but different. And that difference is exactly what made this moment impossible to ignore. Because people didn't just see what happened, they felt it. And once you notice that shift, you can't unsee it. The moment should have passed. That's what everyone expected. Taehyung adjusted his grip slightly, his fingers tightening around the item, but he didn't look at it again. Not immediately. Instead, he kept walking, face calm, almost too calm. But Jungkook? He didn't move on. His gaze stayed fixed, not on the fans, not on the cameras, but on Taehyung. There was something different in the way he looked at him this time. Not confusion. Not surprise. Recognition.
As if he knew something.
The distance between them was barely a step now. The security team kept pushing forward, trying to maintain order, but Jungkook subtly closed that gap anyway, like instinct pulled him closer. Then it happened. Taehyung finally looked down again. Just 1 second. That's all it took.
His jaw tightened.
His breathing paused, so slight, almost invisible, unless you were watching closely. And somehow, Jungkook noticed it instantly. He leaned in just enough, his voice too low for anyone to hear. What is it? No answer.
Taehyung didn't speak.
Didn't even look at him. But his silence said everything. Jungkook's expression shifted again. This time, something heavier. Not shock. Not fear. Concern. Real concern. For a brief second, the noise of the airport, the screaming, the cameras, the chaos, felt like it disappeared around them. Like they were in their own space, locked in a moment no one else could fully understand. And then, Taehyung did something no one expected. He didn't hand it to staff. He didn't put it away. He kept it. Carefully. Almost protectively. That's when the tension changed. Because Jungkook saw that too. And whatever he was thinking, he didn't question it again. He just stayed close. Closer than before. Walking beside him, matching his pace, his eyes no longer scanning the crowd, but quietly watching Taehyung instead. Fans began to notice. The whispers started spreading instantly. Did you see Jungkook's face? Why did Taehyung react like that? What did he just receive? But no one had the answer. Not yet. Because the real moment, the one that would make everything even more intense, hadn't happened yet. And when it did, it wouldn't just be Taehyung who reacted. It would be both of them.